Hello, I'm ArchieLuxury, and today I'd like to talk about wearing an upper-end luxury wristwatch and getting the sack, the ass, the boot. That's right, wearing a high-end luxury wristwatch and getting the sack, the ass, the boot. And good old Archie here, he's been sacked many times. Sometimes for reasons which were quite justifiable. Other times for reasons because the management really fucking sucked. But I'll relate this to Archie's recent time he got the boot, and he had a systems administration role. He was in the senior management team, and the job sucked. The boss was the MD was an absolute fucking asshole. And Archie's boss, she was a complete bitch. They knew nothing about IT. And Archie came from a big corporate background. And, one thing about the big corporates, you can criticize them for a lot of things, but fuck, they knew when to change equipment. As soon as the fucking warranty ran out, they'd be looking at replacing it. And they kept good backups in place, and they understood. But this company Archie went to, all the fucking IT equipment was 5 to 7 years old. The PABX phone system was fucking 12 and a half, 13 years old. And you go into a meeting to your boss and say, look, we need to fucking implement a backup system urgently. We have no live backup system because we had a SAN, which is basically a network storage device with virtualized machines. The SAN where the live data was also where the backups were going to. And Archie had fucking nightmares about the whole fucking thing going down and being completely up the creek without a fucking paddle. So Archie continually said, hey, we've got problems, we need to ensure good backup. We have nothing. It's not satisfactory. I'm not happy with it. I will not sign off on it. We need to look at replacing our servers. They're 7 years old. Well, some were 5 and some were 7. They're not meant to fucking last forever. I had a battle trying to explain that the fucking 12-year-old PABX. I said to my boss, I said, look, let me explain it in simple terms, okay? Let me just explain it simply. IT equipment, phone equipment, it's like dog years, okay? 1 year is equal to 7 years, okay? So when you've got a 12-year-old fucking PABX system, that's like an 84-year-old man. Yeah, he might be healthy today, but he could be fucking dead tomorrow. And, we might come in the morning and he's fucking dead. I said, this is what I'm talking about. I said, this old PABX, I'm not a telecommunications expert, but let me explain this. It's got some sort of hard disk in the system. It's got a 386 base computer, which is what the PABX was. And it's got a thing called it's got a 20 gig hard drive. Now, they haven't fucking made 20 gig hard drives in a long fucking time, and I wouldn't even know how to transfer the existing data off it into a new 20 gig hard drive, because if you don't have the exact same size, it's probably not going to fucking work. And it was just an absolute bitch. The job sucked. And anyhow, Archie as systems administrator had this fucking boss who wanted Archie to spy on the staff. And you think Archie didn't fucking spy on what you bastards were saying about him? And I could see the sack was coming fast. They didn't like my resistance to kowtowing and insisting that we need to do something with backups and ensuring we had some maintenance, and they just didn't like the way I was pushing for it, which I thought was my job as the IT manager in the senior management team. And so I knew I was going to get the boot, because the little fuckers, they had actually sent an email. The big boss, the managing director, asked for a copy of my contract, my employment agreement. And he may have deleted it, and she, the bitch, the immediate boss, may have deleted it, but the payroll lady, she left it in her she left it in her scent box. So when I went through her box, I found everything, you assholes. So I knew it was coming, and they really pissed me off. They expected me to use my personal car and claim back the kilometres, and I never really wanted to use my own fucking car for work. My wife needs it to pick the kids up. We're quite environmentally strong in the sense that I think the best thing you can do for the environment is have one fucking car where possible. And you know, I kind of just, you would ship me off that they had no form of me getting to any bases, you know, any sites without a fucking vehicle. They didn't provide anything. It's really pissed me off. And you know, I said to them, look, from now on, my car's not available. And they got fucked off with me for that. And just a lot of, I could see the writing was on the wall. And I decided, you know, I was working 60, 70 hours a week because I really loved the job. I wanted the role. I wanted to be really successful. And I think I was really successful in it. But they weren't happy, and I thought, fuck this. If you're not happy, I'm going to work to rule. I'll work 40 hours a week, and you can't use my fucking car. And just because I'm on call, I'll turn the fucking phone off or put it on silent and check the calls in the morning, which is what I did. And they were a mob of bastards, so, you know, I could see the writing on the wall. And they called me in, and I'd been prepared for this. I kind of, the way I looked at it is, if I get the sack, at least they can fucking pay me out. But if I resign, I kind of miss out on that. So, you know, it was kind of, I should have fucking resigned ages before that, but I didn't because, you know, I don't fucking like to just walk out of jobs. You know, jobs aren't that fucking easy to come by, and no job is perfect, but this job really fucking sucked. I can say that much. So I was wearing my Patek, my 5107 white gold, and they said, oh, excuse me, Paul, could we please have a few minutes of your time? And this is the HR goon and my immediate boss. And I knew, yep, okay. So I went in there, and they said, we're afraid to tell you, but we're going to have to let you go. So, you know, I'd already been prepared for this. So what you do, you know, what did I do? I just looked down at my Patek Calatrava 5107, and I looked back up at her and thought, you're a fucking incompetent bitch. You have no fucking idea of what you're doing. And I asked key questions. Don't swear or lose your temper. You say, why did you not tell me? What did I do wrong? And I put my case. I said, I did all these things. I was concerned about backup. We have absolutely no backup in place. I was concerned about this. Tell me why you've reached this decision. Why didn't you counsel me and let me know something was wrong? And I just made it as awkward as possible. And, you know, it's always comforting to have a beautiful Patek Calatrava on your wrist when you're being told bad fucking news by incompetent fuckwits. And I just looked down at my Patek and thought, right, you know, I'll plot my revenge later. And they were very, you know, I said, what did I do? You know, just very insistent and push. What did I do wrong? Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you give me any guidance? And she was a fucking complete bitch, I'll tell you that much. But it's the fucking asshole MD who I really can't stand, because that bastard really knifed me in the back. And that bastard on that day, he deliberately didn't come in until much later. And I said, I want to see that asshole before I go. And I said to him, why did this happen? And he said, oh, he just tried to fucking say it wasn't. I said, the buck stops with you. You're the MD, and you stiffed me. And you know, the other thing too is that I made it very awkward for them. They said, okay, we'd like you to get your stuff together. We'd like to show the other staff member a few things before you go. And I said, yeah, that's fine. And I took my time. I said, I'd like to pack my stuff, and I'd like to say goodbye to a few people myself. And I had a box ready. I put my umbrella in it, and I put it on the receptionist's front desk. You know, the type of cardboard box when you're given the ass. I let it sit out there like a corpse, corpse at a party, and I proceeded to, you know, just fucking take all the shit, any crap on my desk, I put it away and put it in the bin, and I deliberately didn't show the guy the thing that asked me until the very end, because I wanted my time there. So I took my time like a corpse at a party, and I then, a few people said, oh, how do I do this, how do I say, excuse me there, I've just been fired, I've been given the sack, and that's just like the death. I really brought the place down. I was really quite proud of myself, how I brought the place down to a really, it's like being at your own funeral, except the corpse is talking, and you know, that was quite enjoyable. I spoke to a few people, said, oh, I've been fired, I've been given the ass, the boot, the sack, the can, and that was quite enjoyable to do. And you know, whilst I had the Calatrava on, it gave me an inner strength to plot my revenge. You know, nothing illegal. We'll talk about that in another video, plotting revenge. I don't think it's quite called for here, but you know, I really got strength from having that Calatrava on my wrist, and it really let me, you know, bring the whole fucking place down to a really fucking, like attending a fucking, being at your own funeral, except the corpse is talking and giving directions. And I got out of there, and fuck, the place was, you could have just fucking bottled the atmosphere there. It was really, it sank really low. And you know, it's quite interesting there. It's quite interesting. Wearing a luxury watch and getting the boot, it does give you an inner strength. I could look down at my Patek and realise what an ungrateful bitch of a boss I had. What a fucking asshole of an MD I had. And that's the MD who wore a fucking a Breitling, which is partly the reason I despise anything with an ETA machine inside it. And I gotta say, you know, I really am pleased to be out of that fucking place. It was evil. And yeah, that's the fucking way it goes there. That's how it happens. And I think I got a lot of strength from having my Calatrava on my wrist, and when I got the arse. I'm ArchieLuxury. Tell me what happened when you got the arse.